Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Lowe Notes. Turned on some music to start my day and decided to talk about it. Thank you for joining me. It's great to be back. I know I've had a couple week hiatus. I have had some, not lung issues, but been coughing quite a bit and lost my voice for a while. Must be yelling at all those kids. Anyway, I'm back. I sound like I've been smoking 2 packs a day for 25 years, but I can assure you it's only been 1 pack a day. Anyway, I'm back and I need to do another Lowe Notes. And again, like I said, I'm really glad you decided to join me. And without further ado, let's get started. I want to talk about today the top 10 songs that I cannot play loud enough. And I think everybody needs to have a top 10 list of songs that you hear either on the radio or on a headphones or whatever. And when you hear them, you automatically want to turn it up. And you can't play it too loud. They are just songs that they just have to be played loud. And some of my songs are not necessarily, head-banging, thrashing, metal, crazy songs, but they are songs that when I hear, I automatically turn them up. Would they be considered my favorite songs? Yes and no. And I would say that number 10 and number 9 are interchangeable. And I think new songs that I hear that I haven't heard in a while will come onto my top 10 list at number 9 or number 10, and number 10 might get bumped off. But as it stands right now, these are my top 10 songs that I can't play loud enough. And when I hear them, I am just smiles from ear to ear, and they are songs that are on my list. So as I said, I think everybody needs to have their own top 10 list. So if this puts a little earworm in your head or a little bug in your head, so be it, and go ahead and make up your own list and put it in my comments. Come at me with your songs, and I would love to have a little discussion about it. Also, on this episode, I'm not going to get too in the weeds with gear and guitars and amps and all that, because I had some people come at me in the comments last time about certain gear with Def Leppard, and I was educated. It was awesome. I love talking about that, but I just don't want to get into that right now. And if you come at me with this pedal or this interface or this amp or these wattages, I will say thank you for commenting. Please comment, but I'll move on. So I can't do that because it just isn't what I'm here to talk about right now, at least for this. My top 10 list, as I said, they may not be my favorite songs, but they certainly are songs that I want to turn up when I hear, and having this list is something that I think is really fun. So this song was released in February of 1977, and it was written by Don Felder, lyrics Don Felder, Glenn Frey. Every time I hear it, I turn it up. I think it's considered one of the greatest rock songs of all time. Rock, not metal, but rock and roll. It is just such a good song. The original members of this band were Don Henley, Glenn Frey, Bernie Leadon, and Randy Meisner. And so they started out with 4. And then in 1974, so they started, I think, in 71. In 1974, Don Felder joined, and he does, I had no idea all the guitar parts that he does, but he does mostly all the lead guitar stuff. Don Felder is absolutely amazing. And then a year later, Joe Walsh left the James Gang and joined and replaced Bernie Ledden. In 1977, Randy Meisner left, and Timothy B. Schmidt of Poco joined. So that was their lineup for the longest time until Glenn Frey passed, and now Vince Gill. So as I said, they had quite a run, and they were at the top of their game with Hotel California. But the dual guitars during the solo with Joe Walsh and Don Felder, just absolutely incredible. And it's just so iconic now listening to them and these harmonies that they play with their guitar. It's very recognizable, very enjoyable, puts a smile on my face, and I always want to turn it up louder when I hear it. But I have a funny story about this song. Our son, Andrew, and our daughter, Maggie, and Andrew's wife, Anna, we all went to a bar in Waukee, Iowa called Kenny's Garage. And there was a band playing. And they were playing pop songs and old rock and roll songs. And they were just a fun garage band. And so during the night, we were dancing and singing and drinking and having a great time. And pretty soon I saw the lead singer walk over and start talking to Andy. And the next thing we know, they play Hotel California. He is on the stage and sings the whole song. I don't know if they had a tablet for the lyrics, but I know he sang every word, hit every note, knocked it out of the park. And it was pretty cool. He got done and he came back to our table and we were just going crazy. And he goes, "Dang, that song is a lot higher than I realized." He did a great job, but that was a fun night. And I just remember that was it's just a song that I just can't play loud enough when I hear it. If my wife's with me, she doesn't like it as well. So we turn it usually, but if I'm alone, man, I'm cranking that song. So number 10 is Hotel California by the Eagles. Okay, number 9 on my list is a kind of a heavy metal, more of an 80s pop band. They weren't pop, they were rock and roll, but I'll play a little bit of it here and you'll see if you recognize it. I recognize that power chord anywhere. Yep, it's Whitesnake. And David Coverdale brings it. Oh, it's just such a cool song. So on my list, number 9, Still of the Night by Whitesnake. So David Coverdale really brings it. I think about back to MTV and watching that some of the videos. They were excellent. All the hair and the women and the music and the guitars. Oh, it just takes me back to MTV days. But many of you probably didn't know, but David Coverdale came from Deep Purple, and I think they started in like 1977. He was the lead singer for Deep Purple. He's had a variety of members, different members throughout the years. They were at the height of their popularity in the 80s. But Vivian Campbell from Def Leppard fame, he also came from Dio. He played with Whitesnake for a year or two in the mid-'80s. And then you probably have heard of Steve Vai. He played with David Lee Roth's band. He played with Whitesnake for a couple years. Warren DeMartini from the band Rat. Yeah, we got a Rat problem. Yeah. He played in like the late 80s, like 89, 90. And then a guy by the name of Doug Aldrich, who was with Dio after Vivian Campbell. And then he also played with a band called Hurricane, among others. He played for quite a while. I think he played for 11 or 12 years with Whitesnake. I looked it up. Whitesnake has had, over the years, at least 35 different members that either recorded with them or toured with them or both. So trying to keep all of that in my brain was a lot. So But that opening power chord, that opening slide, and then David Coverdale coming in with that high-pitched scream or voice or whatever you want to call it, it cannot be played loud enough. And so number 9 for me, Whitesnake, Still of the Night. All right, number 8 on my list is Journey, Feeling That Way Anytime. Again, it's quite a variety, going straight from Whitesnake to Journey. I know it's a stretch, but Feeling That Way is such a good song, and I just love the harmonies. I remember playing this song back in the late 70s. Steve Perry just wailing in the car on the 8-track. It's just such a harmonic, layered rock song that just has the best harmonies and the best melody that a song can have, especially for the late 70s. So then you have Neil Schon coming in with his guitar, and there's just so many parts of the song that are so cool. I can remember I had a 1976 Chevrolet Vega station wagon. So I had an 8-track in it, but we didn't have Journey's, I think it was Departure, maybe that was on. But we'd hear the song on the radio, and it would always end, and then Anytime would always play after that. And we just thought it was one song. We didn't realize it was 2 different songs, but we always put them together. When we got the 8-track, yep, lo and behold, Anytime came right after Feeling That Way, and it was just one song melded into the next, and that was really cool. But we had, like I said, that Vega station wagon, and you could comfortably get 4 in it. It had the bicentennial seat covers. Anyway, to hear these harmonies and the layered effect of the vocals, just awesome. I just love it. And then these songs would just play back to back, and I think Journey might have been ahead of its time back in the day. Just to hear those harmonies and have them come back to back, and then the drums kick in right after this. When I saw them at the Iowa Jam in concert, as I said, Steve Perry would come out and he'd say, "I got my arms a mile wide," right here. Pretty sick. And that's number 8 on my list is Journey, Feeling That Way Anytime. And we're moving on to number 7. Okay, number 7 on my list, Peter Frampton, Frampton Comes Alive, 1976. Do You Feel Like We Do? So this song is very interesting. It's obviously very long, the live version, but it was recorded in the studio in 1973, and it was released in 73. Nobody liked it. It didn't sell. It didn't go anywhere. And Frampton had an opportunity to go to the Winterland Ballroom in San Francisco, California in 1975. So he was there in June. I was there for 2 nights, the 13th and 14th of June. And he said this was, some of the stuff I read, this was his first headline show. So he was really nervous. I think the theater seated about 6,000 or 7,000 people. And he said when he came out, it was full of energy. The place was buzzing. And when they recorded this song, or they sang this song, he said it was like the sweet spot of a golf swing or the sweet spot of a baseball bat hitting a home run. He said everything was perfect. I can remember one of the interviews I saw with him. He said a lot of times when bands come off stage, they'll say, "Oh man, I had a really great night," and the bass player will say, "Yeah, I kind of had an off night," or the guitar player will say, "I didn't have a really great night." But Peter Frampton said when they came off stage at the Winterland Ballroom in San Francisco for that show, everybody said, "Yep, that was my best night ever." And he said the crowd, as I said, had so much energy, and it just went back and forth and back and forth. And he said that it just was one of those catching lightning in a bottle. Those recordings of that album, Frampton Comes Alive in 1976. So I know "Do You Feel Like We Do" is a long song, but as I said, the live version is so much better than the studio version, and I just love listening to it. When it comes on, I turn it up. And hearing him talk about how he wrote these lyrics and how this song came about was really interesting. It's all about a hangover and him getting up and doing it again and trying to write songs and tour, and just, again, an incredible song. He numerous times talked about the energy in the crowd and how the band was so tight that night. And again, as I said, I'm repeating myself, but catching lightning in a bottle is hard to do, obviously, and that was the one night that really worked out for them. So part of his show was something called the talk box, and he didn't invent it. It was invented back in the 1920s, but he had heard Joe Walsh use it in the James Gang and thought that was the greatest thing he'd ever heard. So he wanted to get a piece of that. So he asked Joe Walsh if he could borrow it, and he used it at this recording on this show. And it's such a classic part of his music, and this song especially. So it's essentially a small little amplifier that has a tube on it. I can show you. And he plays it through an amp, comes up to the microphone, puts it in his mouth, and as he plays the guitar through this talk box, the sound comes through the tube, through his guitar, through the tube, into his mouth, into the microphone that he's singing in. A simple little device that changed rock and roll in many respects. So when they presented this these recordings to A&M Records, the record executive listened to it and he's like, "Where's the rest of it?" Because they were just planning on having a single album. Well, Frampton Comes Alive turned into a live double album, because it was so good, and they captured this energetic crowd and this once in a lifetime show on tape, and then they put it on vinyl. So as number 7 goes, it's in my top 10 list. Peter Frampton Comes Alive, Do You Feel Like We Do? So number 6 on my list of top 10 songs I can't play too loud is obviously a classic from Skynyrd. Freebird. Yep, I gotta have it. You gotta have it in your top 10 list, in my opinion. Especially after the Winter Olympics, when they were playing Freebird after every hockey goal or every any good thing the Americans did. Freebird was blasting in Italy, so it's gotta be on my list, And I've heard the non-live versions and the studio versions, but my favorite version is the live version from the Fox Theater. The Fox Theater is in Atlanta, And in 1976, it was going to close. And Skynyrd came in, I think it was in July of 76, and did a benefit. And that recording of Freebird at the Fox Theater is my favorite. It's the one that I always look for when I want to listen to Freebird. And it is absolutely outstanding. There's another YouTube video of them at Oakland Coliseum in Oakland, California. And this was in probably 77, right before their crash. But they crashed in October of 1977. But this recording was in 76 in Atlanta. So the Fox Theater is still around. They saved it. But the guitar solo in this song starts with Gary Rossington. He has a slide guitar that he uses, and he plays a Gibson SG. He played that a lot. He also had a Les Paul, but his SG was pretty recognizable. And then Alan Collins, a founding member of Skynyrd, always played that Gibson Explorer. Just a sweet, sick guitar. And the song starts out with all the friends that they've lost over the years, kind of a ballad. It has the piano, and then that slide guitar kind of ramps in there, and it starts to ramp up into this, for lack of a better term, hurricane of triple guitar threat and these dual guitar solos going back and forth. It just can't be played too loud. So this is when it really starts ramping up. And this is Alan Collins. And this is the part that they played during the USA Hockey and all the different things during the Olympics. It's just such a rocking song, and it just doesn't stop. So this is where Gary Rossington and Alan Collins kind of go back and forth with their guitar solos, and it's just a debauchery of awesomeness, and they just go back and forth, and it's just awesome. So number 6 on my list, Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd. Okay, number 5 on my list. I've talked about this band a lot. In fact, I just had a big story about them in my last episode, or the episode right before that. It's Def Leppard, Photograph. It is by far on my top 10 list. It's firmly entrenched at number 5. I've talked a lot about this song in the past. From the opening riff, those guitars, again, sound so much like Boston. Going right into Joe Elliott singing, and then it's almost like an anthem, the chorus of Photograph. And then they have those layered harmonies and the layered guitar sounds. It's absolutely an awesome song. And here's the opening riff of it. It's so recognizable. And then the One-Arm Bandit comes in, come on the kick drum. But yeah, the vocal harmonies with Def Leppard and their overall sound. Their producer for many of their albums was Mutt Lange, especially on Hysteria. And he had a lot of recognizable layering techniques and different compressions with the guitars and the voices. And again, I can't get into all the weeds on the instruments and the music and all that, but or the amplifiers and how they produced everything. But it's very recognizable, and it's definitely Def Leppard. And as I said, their harmonies with the vocals were spot on. And Def Leppard, they stand the test of time with Pour Some Sugar on Me, and obviously Photograph and all the Hysteria songs. But Photograph was off Pyromania, but it again stands the test of time, and that is why Def Leppard is awesome. They're incredible. They're still touring. So they at number 5 on songs you cannot play loud enough, Def Leppard, Photograph. Okay, that moves us up to number 4 for songs you can't play too loud. And for number 4 for me, we're moving to Rush. Yep. And you notice I haven't talked much about lyrics in any of these songs that are on my list. Lyrics have never been a big thing for me, and my wife always asks me that, or my kids will ask me once in a while. I'm just not a big lyrics guy. I like, as you all know, the harmonies, the melodies, the guitars, the sound, rather than what they're saying. But I will say with Rush and Boston, the lyrics are pretty important and pretty cool to me. And Neil Peart, the drummer for Boston, Rush, R.I.P., was an amazing lyricist. And some of the stuff that he wrote, just out of this world. But number 4 on my list is a little song that goes a little something like this. First song of their concert back in the day. Yep. So that is Spirit of the Radio. And Spirit of the Radio, that sound with the guitar that Alec Lifeson plays is supposed to represent radio static. Like you're trying to tune in a radio station back in the day. It wasn't a push button. You would actually tune a car radio or a home radio. And that sound is supposed to sound like radio static. And the first verse of that song that Neil Peart wrote was, "Begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive." So to me, that means begin the day with some music, kind of like Boston, turned on some music to start my day. So that's another reason I like this song. But to begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive, plays that song that's so elusive, and the magic music makes your morning mood. That's cool. And that friendly voice, is the friendly voice the DJ that you hear every day, or is the friendly voice the melody and the music that you hear every day? You can interpret it differently however you want. But those lyrics are very cool, and that's how the song starts. I've talked about this lyric in the past. So, all this machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted. And I look at that as either the radio machinery making this music can be open and free-flowing, or when you see them in concert, all the stuff they have on the stage, all the amps, the cabinets, all the sound equipment that they have, all this machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted. I always look at them when I see them in concert, when they say that line, is just very cool. So that line, I've talked about that line in the past in other episodes, but it's one of the, in my opinion, one of the coolest lyrics in rock and roll music. I just, there's something about it that clicks with me, that resonates with me. So again, the song is called Spirit of the Radio, and it takes me back to when we didn't have a lot of albums or didn't have a lot of cassettes or 8 tracks or whatever, and you had the radio to listen to songs. And I can remember numerous times I'd hear a song on the radio at the swimming pool or wherever, and you'd hear that song and you'd be like, oh my God, that's a cool song. It's brand new. And then you wouldn't have a recording of it. You wouldn't have any money to go buy one. If you had the money, you still had to get to Des Moines somehow to get to the record store to buy it in an 8-track or an album or whatever. So you just didn't have access like you do now with Spotify or Apple Music or any of these streaming services. So I would stay up at night, turn my radio on, have my little cassette deck right there, and I'd have my fingers on push or on ready to push play and record after the commercial or after the DJ stopped talking to make sure I was ready in case that song played. And it was numerous songs. It wasn't just one song. So many songs. There were many nights that I would stay up till 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning waiting for a song to try to emulate or to record that so I would have it. And so that's, I guess, my boomer moment right now, because I could say get off my lawn, but kids these days have it too easy now. They have the Spotify and they have that Apple Music thing, and they can do all these things. But anyway, it was just another awesome experience getting to see them sing Spirit of the Radio live, and also just listening to it whenever I hear it, and turning it up to 10 because it's awesome. So that was number 4. Number 3, we're moving on. So number 3 is an iconic song that, again, every time I hear it, I crank it, especially if I'm in my car alone. And I think you'll recognize it as soon as you hear it. Yep. It is AC/DC. Back in the day. This would have been late 70s with Bon Scott. And his voice is, again, so recognizable that it just is just an iconic song. When I think of this song, I think about how it almost has a groove to it. It just has such a cool beat and just kind of this bass line that's just a groove. And it has nothing to do with the lyrics. Again, I don't get into the lyrics much, except with Rush and Boston, but it just has kind of this groove that you just have to tap your toe to. And Bon Scott passed way too early. He passed in 1980. They still have an original member with Angus Young. After Malcolm Young, another original member, passed away, his nephew, so Angus Young and Malcolm Young had an older brother. His name was Stephen, and his son, his name's Stevie Young, now plays rhythm with AC/DC. He's been playing for, I think, 12 or 13 years with them now. But just the driving guitar sound and the rhythm with that song is just fantastic, and it cannot be played loud enough. And then the chorus kicks in on this song, and they're all singing, and there's a little harmony in it, but it is mainly just screaming. But again, that groove, the guitar part, and Bon Scott with that scratchy high voice, it is a song that is unmatched, in my opinion, for AC/DC. So Highway to Hell, number 3. A little side note, my wife and I are going to go with some friends in August to see AC/DC. So there's going to be a check mark off my bucket list on bands I wish I would have been able to see. Now, granted, there's only one original member, but Brian Johnson, the singer, has been with them a long time. And, of course, Angus Young. So we'll be able to see them. That's at the Allegiant Stadium in August. So that'll be fun. So AC/DC, number 3 on my all-time can't play it loud enough list. So we're down to number 2. My second favorite all-time song that you can't play loud enough. And it's, again, by a band called Rush. And the song is called Limelight. Again, a very recognizable intro riff. And they bring it on this song. And again, it's called Limelight. The first verse is incredible. And again, Neil Peart has come up with some lyrics that are just amazing, because the song is about being in the limelight. And Neil Peart hated interviews, hated being in the limelight, just wanted to play the drums, and hated all the notoriety that came with being famous. And so he called it being in a gilded cage, a gold-plated cage that he couldn't get out of, that people would look at him in. And so the first lyric is, living on a lighted stage approaches the unreal. For those who think and feel in touch with some reality beyond the gilded cage. It's, again, about being popular and famous, but you can't really get away from it. And I just thought it was a very, very cool lyric in verse. So here's that verse. Again, amazing lyrics. And Neil Peart hated being famous, as I said. He would usually, if he could, ride his motorcycle from gig to gig. So if they had a gig in Seattle and their next one was in Portland the next night or 2 nights away, he would ride his motorcycle. He wouldn't ride on the bus. He wouldn't fly, because he didn't want to be in the limelight. He didn't want that, but it came with being a musician. And so that first verse always gets played super loud when I hear it. And the guitar and the crunch and the hotness of the guitar, the volume, and it's in your face, and it's just a very, very cool song. So number 2 was Limelight by Rush. So we're down to number 1, and my voice is going, but I'm pushing through. Number 1, my favorite song, I've said it numerous times, More Than a Feeling by Boston. Turned on some music to start my day, the whole thing. And I can go through, again, the amazing vocals, the amazing harmonies with Brad Delp, the guitar solos, the sound, the Boston sound that Tom Scholz perfected, the different layers of vocalization, the different layers of guitars, the different fade in and fade out of the music. What song do you know actually fades in? There's not many. More Than a Feeling does. And it's a song that I can't play loud enough. And so let's play a little bit of the song, shall we? And that's such a cool part of that song. Again, it's more of a song to me. It's an engaging, a happy, an energetic, and uplifting song. It has everything. It has the amazing vocals. It has these tremendous guitar solos and the tremendous guitar sound, the different layers of harmonies and music. It's a happy song, and it's engaging. And like I said, every time I hear it, whoop, I'm upbeat, I'm loving it, and I can't turn it up loud enough. And a guitar solo, I could do a Rick Beato, but yeah, I've been listening to this song for, has it been 50 years? 50 years? And every day I turn on some music to start my day, and it could be anything. But in the car, I turn on music. At home, I turn on music. At school, I turn on music every day. And music, to me, makes the world go round. It is what uplifts me. It's what makes me happy. I wish I was better at playing it, but it's something that is always with me. And turned on some music to start my day has always been that line that sticks with me. So that's my list, my top 10 list of songs you can't play loud enough. Everybody needs a top 10 list. So write your own top 10 list. Send them to me in my comments. I would love to hear them. I'd love to talk about them. Maybe I'll do another episode about other people's top 10 list. And it's a cool thing to have, in my opinion. So I made it through. My voice is pretty raspy, but I made it. Another melody, another memory. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully next episode my voice will be a little bit better, but I'll lay off the cigarettes for the next week or two. So thank you for joining, and I'd like everybody to rock on.